Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So yesterday we did this save feature for I should have got this set up already. Yo, I'm gonna reset the recording for YouTube here because I should have had this set up. What up, Salto? How's it going, homie? Yo, today's been a weird day for me. I was working on this new software for music today. So like right now we're running through Sonic Pi, all the music here, but I found this new software that I want to switch over to. And I got it working on my Mac and it was great. And then it took me like 5 hours today trying to figure out how to get it working on Windows. And I can get it working here. I can get it working here. What is it? I can get it working without our NeoVim setup. So like if we boot up Super Dirt here, it should say it connects to Super Collider here. This is like the sound synthesis generator. It's gonna go boot up, and then if we have this other text editor here, like I'm super excited for this new music writing software, and I think it's potentially way more powerful for the stream, for making music live. It's just that, let's see. The problem is I can get it to work in this text editor, but I want it to work in my text editor. So like, see how we're playing it here. So it's working. It's just, if I want to edit it, I have to come over here to this app instead of what I'm normally in right here in NeoVim. So like, if I'm in NeoVim over here, I mean, let's just test it out. God, NeoVim takes so long to load. This kills me. So like, let's say we're over here and we want to alt tab over to Pulsar. I guess that's not too bad. There's just like, I've got that like, what's that? It's not that dog in me. It's that like anxious, I want everything to be exactly how I want it. And since I can't get it working in NeoVim, it's kind of driving me crazy. Yeah, it's like really driving me crazy. What's cool is with this new setup, I can hook it up to Ableton and patch in my new synth stuff. So right now, and what's cool about this software is like, so here in Sonic Pi, when we run it, see it says pausing Super Collider audio server. So the software I'm trying to do uses the same audio synthesis maker as, you know, as Sonic Pi does. It uses this Super Collider. But this other language is completely different. So like Sonic Pi is in Ruby, the programming language, and Sonic or Tidal Cycles, which is the new one I'm going to switch to, is in a Haskell programming language, and they're just really different. So like the big thing with Tidal Cycles is it's all pattern based. So like here I kind of say, hey, give me an E pentatonic scale. That's what Sonic Pi allows you to do. And then I can say just choose a random note, E minor pentatonic, choose a note, and then it kind of just does a random one and just does it for you. Whereas Tidal Cycles, you can give it like a bass note, and then you can say, give me all of these different semitones of this bass thing. I can choose which order I want them to get in. I can choose different patterns, and it's just a lot faster, and it's actually less code to type. So it's harder for a normie to look at the code and be like, what, I see what that's doing. It's harder for them to tell what Tidal Cycles is doing, but it's really cool for pattern-based sequencing. So I was able to mess around for like 30 minutes with Tidal Cycles, and I got cooler stuff out of it than I got out of Sonic Pi, and I've been using Sonic Pi for years. So I think Tidal Cycles is the thing to switch to. I'm just wanting it in NeoVim. You know, it took me like 10 hours to get Sonic Pi working in NeoVim on Windows or on Mac in general, and then on Windows too. So it's like I just don't want it to take for freaking ever. And then what the other cool thing about Tidal Cycles is it controls MIDI stuff, which Sonic Pi can do that too, but with Tidal Cycles it's easier to pair it to something like Ableton, and then I can use a MIDI controller to control all kinds of stuff like gain or effects or all kinds of different stuff using Tidal Cycles. So it's what I want to switch to. It's just I don't like this editor. I don't want to use this editor for running it. I want to run it in NeoVim, and I've got it working on NeoVim on Mac. It's just that on Windows, I'm not technically on the Windows. You know, I'm on Windows subsystem for Linux, which is an Ubuntu operating system inside Windows, and my Super Collider is on my Windows installation. This is nuts. Yeah. I just want it to work. Like it works on my Mac. I just want it to work. What's up, Brian? How's it going? Yeah, because like, and what's so cool is like I made like a Game Boy style song in Tidal Cycles on my Mac in NeoVim. In the first 30 minutes I was playing around with it. There's no such thing as too much chocolate. Actually, like I had dinner tonight, and it was at a restaurant, and it was someone's birthday that we had at the table, and they had this like quadruple chocolate cake. So I ate most of that because everyone was full, and I've been full for like the past 4 hours. It was one of those cakes. It was like normal chocolate, mousse chocolate, dark chocolate, and then dark chocolate sauce and chips. So I feel ya. It was really good, but it was like, you know, we had appetizers and salad and ribeye and then chocolate cake. It was like just too much. So I'm thinking today for the stream, I want to see if I can get Tidal Cycles working, but I think I'll kick off with some game development for a little bit. You know, we only have 13 minutes to commit for the day before we lose our green dot. So I don't know. I don't know. It's driving me crazy that I can't get Tidal Cycles working in NeoVim on here. So I can't I don't know, my brain just, like, I can't sleep at night if there's this thing I want to do and I just haven't done it. So like it's nuts. But anyway, let's go real fast here, and let's try to make at least an initial placeholder art for our save points in our game. So, if most of our sprites are ripping off Link's Awakening, I want these idols to rip off Sekiro, and we're gonna make these little like idols, these little prayer idols that you can save your progress at. So how did they... This is gonna be a rough sketch, right? They kind of have like these arms that like hold up a little flame. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's part of my... It's the thing I hate the most about programming, is that my personality, when something's broke and I broke it, I like need to fix it, or I can't like relax. So that's been a very hard thing for me during programming, because it's like I often break stuff and then I just can't relax, and then it really stresses me out, and then there's no, it just doesn't feel good. So I kind of want, I don't know how I feel about totally ripping off the idol from Sekiro, but I want it to look like a guy sitting down crisscross applesauce here, because that's what we do when we pray at it or meditate at it. So maybe if we go like we can do like a Buddha meditation kind of. We have a head up here and then down on the shoulders. It comes out and the arms kind of come in like that. Do you know operating systems theory? Hell no. Yeah, I don't. I've got like experience, Windows, Linux, and Mac. I've done a little bit of all of them, or more than a little bit of all of them. But it's really bugging me, because it's like I don't want title cycles running on the Windows subsystem for Linux, because I know how the audio drivers get, and like I just need the audio to work. So I want it to be native on Windows, but I want it to be controlled through my NeoVim WSL, because that's how I'm doing all the other programming. I don't know, this looks like crap. This doesn't look like... I want it to look like a dude sitting crisscross applesauce with his hands kind of like sitting like this. But it's not really looking like that. It looks so... It doesn't look like a human at all. Oh man. We are not gonna commit before it hits midnight, that's for sure. This looks so bad. What up, Squinch? How's it going? This is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever done in pixel art. I hate it. I hate it. Let's try it again. I just figured out something too about I don't know how accurate it was, but it's so tough because there's so many different chips, right? That's called the chipset architecture or the instruction set for the CPU or whatever. There's so many different chips and so many different motherboards, so it's like it comes down to hardware and software, and that's the issue, is that like everyone's got their own proprietary junk these days, right? So like if you're going to use a graphics card like Nvidia, well, they do things a very specific way, so if you're not compatible with their GPU architecture, then your operating system won't work. So it's like people have been trying to figure this out for forever, and no one's ever succeeded. So I don't know. The big thing for me is like the code just needs to run, right? Like it needs to be reliable, and that means that it's got to work on, it's just got to work. So it's like, this is looking more like a guy praying, which is good. I don't know enough about it. I don't study operating systems and that sort of stuff. But I just know that most things kind of suck. At least like Windows is so bloated. I hate it. And it just does things without asking you. So I really don't like that about it. And then Linux kind of sucks because it's just so freaking hard to use and it breaks. So I don't know of a happy medium there is. It's like what's tough is we're trying to make his little hands, like we want to make it look like he's got his hands together praying. But that is proven to be tough. Yeah, I really like Mac. Mac has got a lot of good stuff going for it. It's just that I spent, $3,000 or $4,000 on this Windows PC for video editing because that's what I do for the money, and I just kind of have to use it for my main driver, my main machine. This is much better than it used to be looking. Yo, we've got 5 minutes to commit before we hit midnight. Not that it's a big deal. It's just the green dot on the GitHub profile. It's not a big deal, but it's like I try to keep it I keep it as like a habit tracker almost for programming. So I don't know, I liked it before without all the black. Looks like a crown. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I want it to be like... Maybe this should be sharper. I don't think we're going to commit in time. Yeah, almost looks like a chess piece, but here, let's save this. We'll save it as PNG in our Tashio folder. Where are all our folders? Graphics. We'll call this idle. Idle.png, and we'll, yeah, it's untracked, so let's git add and call it added idle png. Okay, we pushed before midnight, so at least we've got a commit for the day to count. So the idea is that'll be, and maybe, you know, we have to kind of see. It does, I mean, to me it does read like a little prayer. A little prayer guy. So we'll have to see what it looks like in game. Most useful feature of Lua compared to C or CPP. I would say, you know, I mean, first of all, Lua is very easy to pick up compared to C++. And it's very fast to iterate. So it's one of those things where it's like there's very little friction with Lua. So it kind of just lets you figure out how you want to structure stuff, and it just lets you run with it. So especially for game development, I think it's really useful because it's just really easy to use. You know, it doesn't give you, you know, it's garbage collected, so it doesn't give you the control that you have with memory management like C or C++, but for small little games like this I'm building, it's way fast to iterate. So that's why I like it. You know, so right now we don't have a way to insert, we'd have to add this idle into our map atlas, because if we want to draw it on our map, we'd have to treat it like one of these above ground tile objects that we're drawing on this layer here, and then we can just draw the little idle somewhere, right? So we're gonna have to move it from the PNG we just exported. We're gonna have to move it into the master sheet.png so that we can draw it using tiled. That way we can import it and it'll render at the exact right place. And it'd have to be a collidable map object layer because we can't walk through an idle. So just like a tree stump or a post, it would be a collidable object. So let's just try to add that to our master sheet, and we'll try drawing it and just see. You know, I'm not happy with this as the final version of it, but at least for now, for a placeholder version, we can open our atlas and just see what it looks like when we render it in game. So let's just put it down here. We've got a couple different open spots we can kind of place it in. So let's just place it here, and we'll save it as a master sheet PNG. And then if we reload our tiled application, we can start drawing with it, and then it'll be put into the game as long as we're on this above ground layer. You know, we can put them different locations as a test and see that if we export this as a global map.lua, then our data downloader kind of knows how to pull out those tile IDs and render them in the game. So let's see. And this is what I'm talking about, like with the speed. It's like we're able to we just drew it and saved it, and it's already in our game as a collidable map object. So like the setup is already there to kind of just let our game do all the hard work for us, and we can just focus on the design, which is really nice. So we've got the idle in the level now, which is nice. I'm not sold on that being the final art for it, but at least it's readable. I mean, to me, it's readable, right? Does it look like it's like a guy kind of like? Does it look like a prayer statue of like a little? You know, it's supposed to be. Let me see this. You know, I want it to be reminiscent almost of these guys, right? You know, where it's just a little statue, a little idol. So that was my kind of thought. So, you know, we'd have to only save the game when we touch this. You know, we'd have to put a dialogue object inside it like we have for the signposts, but then add an optionality for a, you know, save or don't save. It's not so much religious, it's more just being thoughtful and grounded. So yeah, I wouldn't say religion, but it's more spiritual, I guess, because it's not about a greater deity, it's more about respect to your surroundings and stuff. Yo, Jitspo, hey, thank you for the raid. Hey, how was your stream? Hey, I've got to do a shout out here. Yo, hey, thank you for the follows. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're doing a top-down adventure game. It is a Game Boy style, you know, Zelda style game here, where we've got this dungeon, we've got spell casting, and this is actually the wrong dungeon, isn't it? Yeah, we exported the wrong dungeon. But this should have all our chasm logic, which it does. Oh, there's a bug. There's a bug. Yeah, yesterday we added saving and loading to our game, and that meant that we could like come out here and we can save our progress, and then we can come in here, and if we die in a chasm, there's like a special death animation if you die in a chasm that it does a game over here, and if you continue from here, it'll load your last save. So that's what we got yesterday. And then today we just made these little idols, these little idol statues that you're supposed to do. Oh, your computer was huffing and puffing? Holy crap. Okay, yeah. So your computer kind of just couldn't handle it. You made a stream overlay and a chat viewer? I guess I didn't realize you made that. Or is this new? That's crazy, dude. 16, that's, yeah. I mean, I think I'm only at 32 gigs or whatever it is of RAM. So that would be a significant amount for me. But yeah, we need to add a little dialogue box to our idols. And the dialogue box needs to give us an option that says, nice, okay, that's cool. Well, I mean, I'm sorry it busted on you. That kind of sucks. Okay. We also have, so we have like spell casting. We've got breakable crates, pushable objects. So we're on the road to making a demo for Steam. I'm trying to get it done in the next month, the demo. So we've got, I accidentally overwrote our last dungeon level design, which was a little bit better than this, but we do have these bats. We need to fix that death bug when we die outside of a chasm. We need to make sure, well, see, it thought we died in a chasm because we died and we were colliding with a chasm. So we kind of need to wait until we're officially dead from a chasm to trigger this game over, you know, or I don't know. This could be, you know, we have, oh gosh, yeah, look at that. We have this animation right there. So if we die, that's the game over if you don't fall into a chasm, or you just kind of spin out and fall down. But that is broken. Oh gosh. There's so much broken. Such broken. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to try and get our save working with the idols that we just added. So let's see how we might be able to do that, and then we'll fix the game over bugs. So we have this thing called a dialog box object, and it takes in, what is its first parameter? An X and a Y, and then a text, and then an option, and then an optional. Yo, go get some food. Thank you for the raid. Yeah, hope you get some rest and get hydrated and everything. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. Okay, so we have, this dialog box is what handles printing the text one character at a time, and also paginating through the pages of text if it doesn't all fit on one line. So that's like kind of how manual our game has been. Like, we literally wrote all the code for the little dialogue system. So we have this dialogue system. It would be, we're giving it the X of, so the dialog box object is basically a tile size, a 16 by 16 object that our player can interact with. So we have to give it the X and Y of the top left origin point of the tile we're trying to put it in. And then we have a little collider extending from in front of our player, depending on which direction they're facing. And if you hit the interact button and that little box in front of you is colliding with the dialog box, then it'll trigger the text that was in there. So we can at least give this a shot. We can try to populate a dialog box inside the idle right now by kind of manually doing it. Then we'd have to add it to our data downloader saying, if the tile ID is that of a idle, when we insert it, let's go ahead and insert a dialog box. But we also have to specify which text goes in there, so it would probably make sense to not even do that in the data downloader. So we'll just have to kind of plan that out. Here on map 7.2, we'll change our spawn point to 7.2, and then we'll try to put a dialog box right where this idle is. So if we look at which tile it is, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 3. So 7.3 on 7.2, geez. So let's first spawn our character at 7.2, and then we will try to insert a dialog box into the map at 7.2 at the X and Y of 7.3. So that's a little crazy, but we're gonna table.insert into our map at 7.2 where we spawn, and we're gonna go into the global dialog box table, and we're gonna insert a class of dialog box, and the X is gonna be 7.3, right? 7 on the X, so we're gonna do a tile size times 6, because the first tile would be at 0, so tile size times 6 would be the 7th tile over, and then we need the 3rd tile down, so this will be a tile size times 2, and this is just to test the dialog box. We can make this prettier. We can make this take in a tile size, row and column, but we're just going to see if it works first. So we've got the Y. Now we need the text. So say, do you want to meditate? Something like that. So meditate. And then an optional NPC parameter, which it does not, because if it's on an NPC, the dialog box needs to move with the NPC. So we have to give it an NPC to track if that's an option, but this is not a trackable dialog box. So we're just going to try to do this. We're going to put it at the right tile. We're going to give it a text, and we're going to see if we can interact with it. And we missed out on a parentheses there. Okay, so let's see. We're at the right screen. Oh my gosh, it worked. Okay, so we've got... Yeah, so see how, like, if we interact facing this way, doesn't work, but if we're facing up, it knows. And the meditate is going to be like saving your progress. So instead of the blinky dialog box to go off, we need to provide an option, either yes or no. Yes would save our game and turn our character into an idle or into a meditate state. And then quitting just unpauses and goes as normal. So we don't have an option to select meditate or not in the dialogue box. So the way this is kind of working is once we interact with the dialogue box, we become paused, because you can see the water moving there. As soon as we interact with this, it pauses. So like nothing in the game state, nothing in the scene view updates if we're here. So maybe we add another optional parameter. Is this an idle or not? Because if it's an idle, we need to trigger not a blinky dialog box at the bottom there, but an option, either option 1, which is meditate and save your game. Option 2 is resume the game without saving. So let's see if we can look in our dialog box class and kind of just see if we can trigger something like that. So we've got dialog box right here. It's a class. Yeah, it takes all of these strings. So let's see how we're rendering it. We render this little blinky, where do we render? Text advance is what it's called. So text advance is the little triangle that blinks to advance the text if you hit the next page. So we just need an option. We can say save or resume. So we can do that by, let's see. Gosh, okay. I guess we can say if it's an idle. I'm tempted, should we include it? We have an option. Where do we use this option? We don't use an option yet. Okay, so we can say that this option should probably be nil instead of 0, right? Do we use this dot option anywhere? We have an option for the NPC that controls their walking directions and stuff. I don't think that has to do with the box though, or the dialog box. So we might be able to get away with the fourth parameter being an option, and we can just, for example, try to do something simple like if the dot option is equal to an idle, we can just do something like set our meditate option equal to true, and we can initialize meditate option to false here. And then when we go to render, we'd only render the text advance if we're not a meditate option, just to test if this is working. So we're going to render that text advance if we're not meditating. So if we are meditating, then it won't render that thing, and we just need to go to our map declarations here And once we do this, the fourth parameter is a string of meditate, or it is a meditate option. Is that a Boolean? Yeah, it's a Boolean. So meditate option, we need to pull from option. So our dot option here gets to be the parameter, which will be a string if we choose it to be, and the dot option is equal to idle. Okay, so if we put in idle here, then our self option becomes idle, and if our self option is idle, then our meditate option becomes true. Let's see if we get the blinky when we talk to it now. Okay, no blinky. It still advances the text, which is good, and we get the blinky on the normal stuff, so that's good. So now we just need, if we have a meditate option, we need to put, yes or no on the right side here, and allow the player to click, select one of those options. So we do have our, what is our font here? When we're printing our dialogue, we need to go into the dialog box class. So we have a page that we're on, we have a line that we're on, is that right? We have a line count. Because I'm trying to, I'd want to put the string of yes or no on the same line that we would normally render the text. So it's like line 1 will have yes, line 3 will have no, and up and down will toggle the option there, and hitting enter will either trigger the meditation or just resume the game. So we have a page number, we have a line 1 result, a line 3 result. Okay. It's kind of jacked up because let's see where's the X and Y of our line result? Okay, we're doing it right here. Okay, so we have the values. Okay, so let's try this, and we'll just say if our meditate option is true, then we're gonna render some options here. And we're not gonna do a line 2, because we're going to have a gap there. So we're going to say that this is yes as a string, and this is no as a string. And then the X position would need to be the virtual width minus however many pixels. Let's just try 25 for now and see how that looks. Virtual width minus 25. Okay, let's see if our meditate option triggers those yes or no options. So let's see. We'll walk up to our idle. It says yes or no. We need it to be scooted over more. It could be right justified. Which would mean we can scoot. I don't like the all caps. Okay, that's looking better. Does it look weird to have them left justified? I feel like it would look even weirder if the text was right justified, right? Because if we imagine a little text indicator, instead of in the bottom left, it's now like a little triangle right here pointing to the option, yes or no. The gap, I think, is just a little, maybe we don't have the gap. Maybe we do this at minus 26 instead of 14. Let's see how that looks. No, I think I like it better the other way. So let's try to get... you know, we need to render this little blinky arrow. We already have a text advance thing, which is already rendering if we're blinking, so we can kind of just say, you know, if we are text or meditate option, we can try to render this blinky, you know, basically at the same X as our yes, except shifted maybe another 5 pixels, and a height the same Y. Let's just see if it's blinking at the yes now. Okay, that's not bad. So we can just scoot it over a bit. Horizontal at the bottom. I was thinking of that. Yeah, I was thinking of that. Let's try that. Let's try that. It's just that, like, the two options become so far apart if they're at the bottom horizontally. Yeah, I don't know. Because that was my first thought, and then I kind of looked at the space available, and it kind of looked like this made more sense, but let's see how it looks. Let's see how it looks once I touch it up a bit and then get the alternating going, and if we don't like it, we can try that horizontal. That's not bad. So if that's the yes, you know, we'd have to say meditate option. Okay, so we would have to also say, like, gosh, meditate yes. I am a bad programmer. Oh God. Okay. Let's do the Y of the no, which is a -14, but then, I mean, yeah, that's, you know, we don't have the meditate yes or no, so like let's just say we want to see what meditate yes, or we want to see what meditate yes being false looks like. So let's just initialize it false, and we'll see if that positioning looks okay. What the hell is this? Self.meditate yes gets false. I'm so guilty. Like, I'll look at my code and be like, who did this? And it's always me. It's always me. Okay. It does look a little weird. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of... The arrow is kind of throwing me off. I mean, it's too low. It should be higher. We'll see. Let's see. It should be higher, so the Y value should be up more. So let's just do it 4 pixels higher. Ugh, that was lower. Yeah, we need to subtract less. No, we need to subtract more to go higher. So we'll do higher by 4 pixels. Too high, too high. That looks better. Okay. Okay, let's see what meditate yes looks like. That's too high. I mean, we want a different text advance than this. I think we want a pure left or pure right facing one other than this text advance. So let's go see where we declare this, and we'll just make a new one for these options. Okay, it's literally just okay. Let's make a new one. Oh lordy. Man, it's 12:30 already. What happened? This is not... That's not where my program is. There it is. Okay, so this text advance PNG. Text advance PNG. Let's open this up with a sprite. So we're gonna make... Yeah, we probably just want a totally new one. So like instead of a 4 by whatever this is, let's just do a totally different one. Let's do a 5 by 5 here. It's just going to be a little arrow pointing to the right. Let's go bigger. Yeah, I kind of think it should just be a flat arrow like that. It looks a little strange when I try to make it look like an actual arrow with like a butt. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking it should just be this. So let's shrink our canvas a bit. Width of only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 actually. Okay. Okay, we just exported this. We'll have this as right arrow selector. And then instead of rendering our text advance, we will render our right arrow selector. Okay, the X and Y is going to be jacked up, but it should read a bit better. Nice, yeah. Okay, so let's get our... Okay, so we do need, in our update function for this, we need to be able to listen for a keyboard input, and if the love.keyboard up or down, we need to swap it, right? So and this is based on arrow keys, not... We need to use our WASD here. Okay, keyboard was pressed S or W. Okay, then we need to say our self.meditateYes gets the opposite. Self.meditateYes. Okay, so if W, this needs to be W or S. We're gonna swap between our meditateYes, which should swap where we render our arrow selector, and our arrow selector needs to be a little lower than it was, so we'll put it back at the original heights, but we want to maybe add a pixel or two, so we'll subtract one less and see how that looks. Nope. 37 and 13. Let's try that. We also need to play the little selector sound when we cycle through. Okay, that's looking better. Needs to be a little lower. Yeah, I like that it's got the blinky. Oh gosh. But we should reset the blink upon a press also. So we need to be a little lower, maybe like 2 pixels lower. So let's subtract 2 pixels less. And then let's also reset the blinking. We'll say blinking is what? False, and reset the timer. We'll say blinking. If blinking is true, then we render transparent. So we'll set blinking to false so that we can see it, and then flush its blink reset also. So we'll try to change that to false. We also want to play from our global sounds table. Beep. Oops. Where's our sounds? It's just lowercase. It should be, probably should be global sounds. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, meditate, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Okay. Squinge, what do you think? What do you think about that? Does it look better now that the arrow's there? Because I'm thinking, like, if we put yes or no down here, the options are really far apart. So I'm kind of thinking, yeah, I think it makes sense on the right side like this. And then we need the selector to actually do something like save it. So we've got a save utility. Our other idle over here, for example, doesn't have an option because we didn't give it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm liking it too. I think it's looking pretty okay. We might need to reset our. Look, if we leave our yes, meditate yes option, see how it defaulted over to no because we left it at no over here. It should default to yes whenever we click on it. So in our knit, we should meditate yes. Oh, it does. It does meditate yes. So, oh, but that's. We'll swap our meditate yes. That's just upon the init. We have to, once we collide. Oh, yeah. Once we collide with a dialog box and it has an idle, we need to reset its yes, because we kind of need to. We need to be able to reset it. So we can either do that. Meditate yes. What we could do is just put that in whenever we trigger the dialog state or the dialog update, wherever we're doing that, we can just flush them all up to meditate yes. dialogue detection for the play state. Something like this. If we're going to trigger the dialogue, what do we do? Dialogue paused is true. Okay, so yeah, whenever we, gosh, where's the other one? This is the touch detection, but we're looking for the keyboard detection, which is right here. Okay, so if we collide with the dialog box, let's just go into the dialog box at this option and go into its meditate yes field and set it back to true. Okay, that should fix that. So we'll leave the meditate option on no, and then we'll walk away, come back, and it should be at yes, which it is. Cool. Okay. Sweet. So I guess now what we can do is just use our save data utility and actually save the game, not upon a key press, but upon a yes selection. So right now, if we hit the P button and we're on the only page of a dialog box, we'll just unpause it. But now if we have a meditate option and we hit P and it's meditate yes, then we need to save our utility or save our game data. Okay, so let's find where we're putting our K save. Where is it? Okay. So yeah, we don't want to do this here upon K anymore, because that was just to test to make sure it worked. We're going to put it in our dialog box object. Okay. So how we do this is we give us a save utility, or what do we call it? Save game utility? No, save, god dang it. Save data utility. Okay. And then instead of in a K press, in our update function here, we're gonna say, I guess it can be kind of last before we render. We can say, or when we go to press the P button instead of advancing, where is it? Should be in our dialog box right here. Okay. So here's our, if P is pressed right here, if P is pressed and our current page is equal to our page length, so if we're on the last page, then we're going to become unpaused and flush all the current dialog box that we've collided with, reset our current page, and we also need to save our data only if our self meditate option is true and if we're on meditate yes. Then we want to save our player data using our save utility. So meditate option is if the dialog box was given an idle string as the fourth parameter when we instantiate it. Meditate yes is if we have yes selected with the arrow, and if so, we save our player data. So let's try to load. Okay, it's going to be a little weird to load actually. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit meditate no. Son of a bitch. Okay, attempt to index, save utility, if meditate no. Save data utility. Oh, save data utility. But it was a meditate no, so why did it crash there? We're going to try it. We're going to try to not meditate here. We're going to say, no, we're not going to meditate. Then we're going to go die in a chasm, and we're going to try to continue our game. It saved. Shit. So, yeah, why did that happen? It defaults to meditate, yes, but once we press the keyboard, once we press down or up, meditate, yes, becomes flipped. Yeah. Okay. Now we do swap meditate, yes, anytime we become paused, but that's okay. Oh, we just crashed. Son of a... Crap. Sorry for the crash, y'all. This, I don't know, this to me looks like it should work because we're, you know, we only go to this dialog box update logic. We only go to this logic if we collide with a specific dialog box and we become paused, and then let's see where we do that and see if I could spot anything weird. Man, I hate that. I hate that if we crash, it wants to run ads again. Like, that's bullcrap. It's like ads just happened. Okay. So if we collide with a dialog box, yo, what are we doing here? Oh, we cycle through our dialog boxes. If we collide with any one of them, then we set meditate yes to be true. So this is like the instant we press P and we collide. Okay. Okay, I think something might be happening here that is very sneaky. Because I think meditate yes might be getting flushed back to true right when we advance, right when we hit P on the last page, the instant we stop becoming paused. I think it might be kind of picking up that we're no longer paused. Because otherwise it wouldn't save this data, right? I mean, let's put our K save data back on so that we can update our save, because right now it'll always load us there whether or not we're saving, because that was our last save data, so it's hard to test. But we also want L to see load player data. Okay, so what we want to do is just go to the load player data. Let's do our load save file does this. Loads our data, changes us back to the play state. Okay, well, because there's a difference between like loading would just pull all the save file into memory, but not actually overwrite the data that we need to actually load the game. So where are we doing that? Where we say, well, if enter's pressed in the title screen state, we're just going to load our data, change our play state. So where do we got to do this somewhere else, right? Loading. We just load our data. Okay, I'm looking for it in the chasm falling state where we do this. We hit enter. All we do is load and change to play state. Okay, so L should load our game and change us. So let's just try K and L for right now, and we'll see if we save right here, come up here and try to load. It does load us back to our last save. Okay, so now we can test whether or not meditate. Uh-oh, what just happened there? What the heck? Why did it stop rendering? Yo, we didn't change anything for that. Let's try it again. So P is pressed. Okay, it works now. What the heck happened there? So we hit meditate, no. I'm gonna save it over here. And if we load it, it saves over here. Now if we can't talk to it more than once. Why is that happening? Well, in our dialog box, when we go to render our thing, it's paused. Okay, so are we not becoming paused on the second time? Let's see. We become paused because the water stops. And then if we do it again, it works. What the heck? Why was it just breaking? If we load our game and then try it, it's working. Why was it broken? Okay. Okay, so let's try. Okay, I'm going to save it down here, which means if I hit L, it loads us back over there. So let's try to hit meditate yes over here, and we'll come try to load it again. Okay, it saved us. Okay, so saving works, but if we save over here, and we're loading over here by the tree, then we go talk to this and say meditate no, then load our game, it's still saved anyway. So that's not correct. So let's just print up the meditate yes option and see if that's right. Well, and the weird thing is, we're effectively printing up the meditate option because anytime the arrow is at the yes, that means meditate yes. And we know it's meditate option. So why are we saving the game when we hit P and our option is meditate yes false? I don't know. Because right now we're only loading the game if we press L and not, or we're only saving the game if we hit either K or P on a meditate yes. So for whatever reason, this is not working. If P is pressed, yeah, then we're gonna do this. Maybe we take this out of our A button count. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of. So we're going to try to save it over here. And if we load, we come back here. Okay. So if we load, we are down here by the flowers. We're going to try to not meditate and see what load does. It takes us right back to the idle. What the heck? yes, not meditate yes. Okay, so something's happening right here. Okay, I guess we'll print up, let's see, save data yes, save data yes. If meditate yes, then go ahead and save player data. And then we say meditate yes gets swapped, meditate yes gets swapped if we press up or down. We start off as meditate yes, but if we hit the keyboard, we swap it. Yeah. Then if we hit P and our meditate yes is false, we would not, we would not do this. So, we shouldn't need any junk like that. Let's just print up meditate yes and make sure it's working as we thought. It has to be, because it's, we're rendering the freaking arrow there. Okay. Look at meditate, yes, true. Meditate, yes, false. Meditate option, true. So that is swapping. So why is it that we press P and meditate false? We're still loading. Meditate, no. Load. You son of a bitch. Why are we loading over there? There's something I'm missing. I mean, I don't get it. We've got to be doing save player data somewhere else. And it's got to be overriding this thing. But we're not doing it anywhere else. We're only doing it here, but that's K. We weren't pressing K when we were testing that. We were just doing this one. This doesn't make any sense to me. It seems too simple. Like, I don't know what I could be messing up. And these just prove we did it right, at least with the options there. So, okay, we're going to save our game here. We're going to meditate no, and we're going to load, and it's saved. What is happening? Because we save and load, so the save file is over here now. So we know it's not incorrect at that point, that when we meditate no, we load, we have saved our game somehow. Man, this is driving me nuts. I don't know what I could be screwing up. We don't run this function anywhere else. So we know it's right here. Other than the K test. So let's just test it without that. You know, if we save right there, we're over here by the flowers. And then if we meditate yes and then load, it doesn't save it, which is accurate. But now we can't, or like if we save it here and load, it doesn't do anything because we're not saving it. So why, like, you know, we've got to have meditate option. The only thing we update is the dialog box itself, right? Like we only have one idle option ever, and it's right here. So we say the option right there is true. We collide with the box, so we're gonna go update. So when we do a dialog collides, nope, where is it? Yeah, when we collide with the dialog box, it's got to be this, right? It's got to be something to do with this. Well, no, the value's correct. The value's correct. It's just saving when the value's... It's defaulted to true. Oh, see, it is... It's like when there's a... I'm worried it is right here. Because when we press P to collide with the dialog box, we set meditate yes to true so that it defaults the option to the yes field. But I think what might be happening, well, no, I don't know. Let's take this out and see. If we take that out, and I need to make our other one work again. So we're gonna save our player data if we press P and we have a meditate yes selected. So if I save it here, we load down here by the flowers. I'm gonna not select meditate yes is false. Then we're gonna load, and that worked correctly. And then if we go here and say yes, let's meditate yes, it should load us back at the idle, and it does. So that does fix it. But what that breaks is if we leave the option to meditate no and come back to it, it defaults to no. So something very strange is happening there. And I think I don't know what was happening. And like it was wait a second. Why do we have this twice? Okay, let's try this again. Okay, we save it down there. It loads us down there. We're gonna try to not save it and then load, and it still had our old save. That's good. Then we're gonna save it with meditate. Then we're gonna load, and it works. Okay, so that's working, other than we don't reset our meditate option when we click on it. So you know, we instantiate meditate yes to true, but that doesn't refresh it back to true. It's so weird. It's so weird that would happen, because we only should save the data if our dialog box is being updated, and we're only updated if we're not paused, or if we are paused, we update it. We become unpaused here, so if we walk it through like a computer does, real slow, you know, one step at a time, it knows we're updating, it knows we're paused, and it knows we're updating the dialog box. It knows we pressed P, and it knows we're meditate option and meditate yes, so it's going to save our player data after it unpauses us. So what's happening when meditate option is no at this current point in time, that it's actually saving our player data. I think what's happening, I think what's happening is like meditate option is no, so it doesn't save it here, but I don't know what's happening. Because the only thing I could think of is P is pressed and we say meditate option gets true here. Or we're saying meditate yes gets true here and P was pressed. So false is true. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to flush this back. I don't know. All I know is that breaks it. Yeah, that breaks it. So in our dialog box object, let's do a reset here where we say, oh my goodness. You know, we need to become meditate yes if we just initialized. This is so bad. I'm so bad at programming. If we just initialized, we're going to have meditate yes, and then we're going to become just initialized false. We're just going to see if this works. And then just initialized becomes true the instant we do that. This is going to be the same junk, isn't it? Right here, we're going to say this dialog box is going to have just initialized. This is going to be the same junk. Okay. Then when we update, if we have just initialized, we're going to become meditate yes. Let me see. So save, load. We're going to dialog 149. Yeah, it's not. This would just be self. Save, load. Let's try to not save and load. It works. Let's try to save and load, and it worked. I just hit enter. Okay. Does it reset our no? So if we hit no, come back, it's back to yes. That is so weird that works. When you open the dialog box, it could check if there are options to select from. Highlight the first option by default. The first option, so like, I hear what you're saying. I think the issue was, though, the thing that was resetting the highlight first option is also the same thing that was saving the game, which was P was pressed and an option was true, which was causing this issue. I don't get why what we did actually fixed it, other than the instant P was pressed, we weren't changing the meditate yes field, we were changing the just init field, and then in the update function we were handling the just init. So we just needed to like decouple it, because the instant we become unpaused after selecting no, I don't want to save it, I think what happened was the very next frame we were unpaused and we were technically colliding with a dialog box, and P was pressed, because as soon as we hit P to unpause us, it still thinks P was pressed, and we were colliding with the dialog box. Then it reset meditation yes to true, and I think at that moment it updated the dialog box because we collided with it. P was pressed. We weren't paused, but I don't see any other reason why it would have done that, because it just wasn't saving properly. I just don't get it. So if we save over here, we can load down here. Then if we hit meditate, no, we don't want to meditate. Then we load our game. Well, it's broken again. Let's see. Save. Load. Meditate, no. Load. Yeah, it's still broke. I'm very confused because we're only saving the data if we hit the P button and our meditate yes. And anytime we hit P button on meditate no, it still saves it, and I don't get why. So like, if we don't try to redo this init junk, does it fix it? Save, load, not meditate, load. It loads the correct old value. And we say we don't want to meditate, load, still the old value. The second we say meditate yes, we load our value and we do meditate there. And it saves it. But yeah, we just can't reset our freaking meditate option because it's still blinking at no here. Like I don't know. It's like such an easy thing. All we have to do is have this option reset to yes. But the issue is pressing P. Because the thing that sets meditate yes to true is the same thing that saves our data, which is we hit P on a meditate yes, that saves our data. But right here, when we hit P right there, P was pressed and meditate yes was true. Therefore, it saved it right away before this option. So we need to give like a frame buffer before we save upon a P press, but also it doesn't it's only, P press. Because we don't flush our text and we don't become unpaused. We're still paused. So why is it saving our player data? Because we're, we had this lift up or something, because we've had a similar problem in the past with because if you walk it through, we're in a play state, we hit P, colliding with the dialog box, so therefore we become paused, and then the instant we update our dialog box because we're paused, our P is still technically pressed because we just pressed it and we didn't lift up, we didn't lift up on that exact frame. So P is still pressed. So it makes sense that this would save our data, but it doesn't, if it saves our data, that means we're unpaused, but we're still paused. So that means this isn't executing. If we press P, I don't know. So we saved it, we load, We hit no and load. Oh, I just messed it up. I saved it on instant. Save it down here. We're going to hit no, load. It saves the correct save. Then we hit yes. It loads the correct load. All right. Well, all we've got to do is change which default is set here. We just have to do it a different way. So like, let's just do a reset meditate or something, like an option, a method. I don't get why it's broken. So it's like, oh, any fix I do is just like guessing, right? Like we can say dialog box reset meditate option, and if we call this function, we're just going to say meditate yes gets true, and we only need to do this after we've hit P, after we've become paused. Then we need to do this, but I don't know. Let's just try something, because I don't know why it's doing this and I don't know how to fix it. Let me just do this timer test here. We're just going to say, once this timer test, we're just trying to pass the frame that we initialized the pause, and then we're going to run our reset meditate option. That should reset our paused. Yo, take care, Squinch. Thanks for hanging. Totally get it. Have a good night. Okay, so we're gonna... Oh, see, look at that. We need to flush our... So bad. Oh, this is so bad. Okay. So we're gonna not save our game. We're gonna load. We're gonna save our game down here. Load. So our save file is down there. We're gonna hit no. Oh, we didn't reset. Anyway. It still says our default is no. We have to set our timer test back to 0 here. Okay, so we're going to save here. We load down here. When we hit no, we load back there, but is no still selected? It is. Why? Reset. Oh, mediate. Meditate. Mediate. Okay, timer test. We increment timer test. If it's greater than half a second, we're going to set our meditate yes to true. Then we're going to get us a very negative number so that we don't reset our meditate yes to true again. And we reset our timer test. Oh, so, well, we reset our timer test, then we increment it, then we're bigger than half a second. So that should set us to meditate yes. This is so jacked up. Because this should default us to meditate yes every 0.5 seconds, but it does not do that. Yo, this is bad. We only initialize the dialog box once. Right when we declare it. We don't actually. Well, dialog box, yeah. Yeah. It's gotta be this dialog box collided. So like we take the exact dialog box we collided with, we put it in this dialog box collided table. So in our dialog box class, where do we use the collided dialog box? Collided. What do we even do with that? Because we flush it here. On the last page we flush it. But where do we use this? Dialog box collided. I think this is what we do to know which dialog box to update. Only render. So yeah, we collide with the dialog box. We take that instantiation and put it into a dialog box collided. And we only render. We should only update. This might be the issue here. Because we only want to change the meditateYes of the dialog box that we collided with, not any dialog box that we update. So like, are we updating all the dialog boxes here? Wow, I think we might be updating the dialog box. Where are we doing this? Right here, dialog box update. What the hell are we doing here? If we're paused, if there's a treasure chest option, we're gonna update the dialog box at index 1. This is weird. We need to fix that. I think this might be the issue, because we're saying if we're paused, we're gonna, well, no, we got a dialog ID, which tells us which dialog box to update. And when we collide, we get a dialog box ID. So right here, when we collide, we get the dialog ID. For our play state, yeah. Okay, and then we do that right here. If we're paused, we're gonna update the dialog box. This might have to be right after. I think, let's see, if we put our paused before we render the key detection. So now, if we become paused, we won't update the dialog box ID that frame. We just become paused. It's not till the next frame where we're gonna do that, where I don't know. I don't know if that'll fix anything. I'm just trying something because I don't know what the heck's wrong. Load. Let us know. Uh-oh. Well, now we update this. Gosh, man. I don't know. I don't know what to try. Pause gets true. Then we update the dialog box ID because paused is true. And that would be the dialog box update function that we are at. So why does putting it above here break all of that all of a sudden? Because P was pressed, we become paused, therefore the next frame we're paused. Therefore, the dialog box it's got to be an issue with this dialog ID, because I think we're updating the dialog box. Yeah, I think we're updating the dialog box whether or not... Shoot. Well, it's only if we're paused. So once we become unpaused, we're not updating it. This is bad. Pause to true. Then we're paused. So we're going to update. And then when we update, if we hit P... I don't know. I'm going to have to take a break away from this because I cannot figure this out. We almost got it. It's just not resetting. It's not resetting the option to default to meditateYes. So this seems like the easiest thing of this whole process, and I just can't get it. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Let's see. In our dialog box class, we aren't doing we save this if it's meditateYes. Okay. So I think it's working right now, other than resetting the option, right? So let's see. We can save, we can load, we can not meditate and load, and we're not saved. Then if we choose yes and meditate and we load, we're back and meditate. Okay, so that's working. It's just that it doesn't remember the option. It doesn't remember to default to a certain option. So I don't know. The issue's something to do with pressing P and updating the object. We'll have to figure it out later, but it's halfway working. Okay. All right, we'll call it a night. Thanks for hanging. Sorry, we kind of crapped the bed at the end there. Let's see, who is streaming? Fanny Slam looks like. Yeah, we'll raid Fanny Slam here, fellow team member. Thanks for hanging. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll try to get more stuff done. Yeah, I think, we need to add the title screen music that I made. We need to get the death bug fixed for the non-chasm deaths. And then we need to get the saving working for the idols. And then once all that's done, we'll probably move on to dungeon development with the bats that we've got. We'll probably make a little bit more pixel art for the dungeon chasms to round out the pixel art there. And then we'll start designing dungeons with the chasms and the pushable crates and all of that good stuff on the road to the demo for Steam here. So thanks for hanging. I'll catch y'all later. Hope y'all have a good night. Oh, our raid. Oh, we can't raid Fanny Slam. None of the homies are streaming. It's too late. Okay, we're gonna raid this Jed M. I don't know if he's cool, but he's in the software game dev category, so we're gonna raid out and call it a night. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, y'all.
Missed you. It was lonely out there.